Hi, today I'm going to show you how to use read-only databases with the Database Attach upgrade from Windows SharePoint Services 3.0 or SharePoint Server 2007 to SharePoint Foundation or SharePoint Server 2010. I'm going to start with a simple overview of how this process works. First, you set up a new farm. Because this is a Database Attach upgrade, you need to manually install all customizations and apply settings to make it match your old farm, only with the new version of SharePoint Foundation or SharePoint Server. When you are satisfied that it's configured correctly, you can start the upgrade process. Second, on the original farm, you set the databases to read-only, then back up the databases. This way, no changes can sneak in while you upgrade. Third, you restore the backups to your new farm, set them back to read-write, and attach the databases to the farm and upgrade the content. If you want to speed things up, you can attach and upgrade more than one database at a time. How many you can do at a time depends on your hardware and how the content in your databases is structured. You can use a test farm to try it out and see how many you can handle at a time. Alright, it's time to show you how this works. To set a database to read-only, you use SQL Server Management Studio. Now the reason I set the databases to read-only before I back up the database is so that no changes can happen before I back up. In a real farm, I'd do this for every content database, and in Office SharePoint Server 2007 farms, I'd also do this for the SSP database. Now this stops all connections to SQL Server, so I'll do this step when I don't have any users connected. It just takes a short downtime. Okay, I'll set one to read-only right now so you can see how it's done. Read-only is a property of the database, so I go to Database Properties, click Options, and in the State section, next to Database Read-Only, select True, and then close the dialog box. Great! Now that database is in read-only mode. Users can still access their site and see their information and content, but they can't add or update any information. Now to back up the databases. I need all the content databases, and for SharePoint Server, I need the SSP database too, so I can have upgraded profiles in my sites in the new environment. I'm still working in SQL Server Management Studio. I'll back up one of the databases now so you can see how it's done. I right-click the database I want, point to Tasks, and then click Backup. I make sure it's a full backup and check the name and destination, and then click OK, and the backup starts. And a little while later, depending of course on the size of your database, the backup is ready. Alright, at this stage, in a standard database attach upgrade, I detach the database. However, because I'm doing read-only databases, I need to keep it around. Instead of detaching, I'm going to restore a copy of the database to the new farm and leave the old one where it is so that users can continue to access their information. I'm in SQL Server Management Studio again, but this time I'm in the new farm. I'll restore one of the databases now so you see how it's done. Right-click Databases, click Restore. I type a name for the database, and then find my backup file. I make sure I'm getting the full backup here and then click OK to start the restore. And a little while later, the database is restored and ready to go. Oh, one more thing. I need to set the database properties back to read-write for the restored databases before moving on. Back to Database Properties, Options, set read-only to false. Now I can test it against the new environment just to make sure all the customizations are there before I attach it. To use that, I use the SharePoint 2010 Management Shell, which I'll open now, and the Test SP Content Database commandlet. Don't just attach and upgrade the database without testing it, because you can only attach and upgrade once. Each site has an ID in the configuration database, and you can't add the same site twice. Okay, I'll type the command, the name of the database, and the web application to test it against. It'll return a brief report. One error, but it's a known issue about the Excel Services web part. I'm good to go. I'm finally ready to upgrade. To attach a database, I use another Windows PowerShell commandlet called Mount SP Content Database. I type in the database name, the server it's on, and which web application the database belongs to. Now you can also use the Update User Experience parameter if you want to control visual upgrade and force users to the new visual experience. You have a choice to keep the sites for a database in 2007 mode for a while, or force them to the new look. I'm going to go with the default, which is to leave it in 2007 mode, so I don't need to specify that parameter. At this point, I just want to add regular content databases. There are more steps involved for the SSP database and my sites, and I'll cover that in a separate video. Okay, Mount SP Content Database runs and upgrades the database. If I want, I can kick off another database upgrade right now, so the upgrades can happen in parallel. Let's go check the upgrade progress in Central Administration. On the Upgrade Status page, I can check to see whether the database has finished upgrading. It looks like the upgrade is still in progress here. I can look at the details to see what step it is on and find the log file location if I want to go check the log. Back to the Windows PowerShell window. Now upgrade has finished. I'll check upgrade status again. Now it shows as succeeded. Okay, for SharePoint Foundation 2010, that's all there is to it. For upgrading to SharePoint Server 2010, you'll also need to do work to restore the SSP database and upgrade my sites. See my other video, Database Attach Upgrade for SSPs and my sites, for information about how to perform those steps. Thanks for watching.